Welcome to this episode of Real Estate I.Q, where we answer your biggest real estate question people are either too scared or too confused to ask. Buying land is exciting, but one wrong step can cost you millions. I'm your host, Sharon Ibinabo, and today we are breaking down the safest buying processes, payment plans, and how to protect yourself from scams before and after you make payments. Let's get into today's episode. The first question I have on my list today is, what is a safe step-by-step process for buying land in Nigeria? Okay, the safest process looks like this. So you would find a trusted seller, either an individual or a real estate company, and then you inspect the land physically. After you inspect the land, you verify the land document, you verify the ownership of that land. If you're buying from an individual, it's very essential that you verify. Even if you're buying from a real estate company, you must verify them. It is very, very important. So you verify the ownership and then you verify the land documents. After that, you conduct a land search at the Ministry of Lands. That's the next step. Then you engage a lawyer if necessary. If it's really necessary, you engage your lawyer. But I would advise you to always engage a lawyer. The next step is to agree on the purchase price. For real estate companies, the prices are actually fixed. So if you tell you this land is 5 million naira, it's 5 million naira, unless when applicable, maybe they have a discount running or so. But if you're buying from an individual, you can negotiate, you can agree on a price. So you agree on the purchase price. Then you make payments through a secure channel. Emphasis on the secure channel, because we don't want you to lose your money. The next step is to sign all legal documents. Sign them. The next step is to receive your survey plan, your deed of assignment or deed of conveyance, and all allocation documents. Very, very, very important to prove that you are now the new owner of that property. Then the next step after you take your documents is to take possession of the land and begin processing title perfection if needed. So after you've gotten all your documents, you take possession of your land. You can build an L shape if you are not ready to develop yet, so that at least you'll be able to identify your land. So I'm going to say it again: never ever skip the verification process, because that's where most buyers actually make expensive mistakes. They don't verify and then they purchase, and then after they purchase, they'll begin to hear stories upon stories, and that's not nice at all. This depends on the seller. If you're buying from a real estate company, they will tell you to either give a 20% initial deposit or a 50% initial deposit, 20 or 50, and then they allow you to spread the balance in some months, either 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months. But if you're buying from private land seller, that's individuals, they will often prefer full payment, except there is an agreement. Just like I said earlier in the first question, you have to agree on a price. So whatever transaction you agree on, just make sure that it is clearly documented and you receive an official receipt. Never transfer money based on verbal promises to avoid land scam. An escrow service is a financial agreement where a neutral third party temporarily holds funds or assets on behalf of the transacting parties. So for high value transaction, I would say yes. If you are getting it from a real estate company, it is advisable that you pay directly into the company's official accounts. Yes, so just make sure that the money is only released after all agreed conditions have been met. So I will advise you to don't pay money into somebody's personal account unless the trust is 100%. But it is not advisable. Just if you're buying from a real estate company, just pay it into their direct account, pay it into the company's account. Then, for the escrow service or your lawyer's account, it helps to protect both the buyer and the seller. When it comes to buying in with from individuals and real estate companies, they're actually different, because with individuals you can see hidden costs, but with some real estate companies like single properties, there are no hidden costs. When you buy your land, you buy your land, and then there are no hidden costs of like, oh, this and that and that and that. But for individual buyers, there will be hidden costs. Now these hidden costs include survey plan. That's for individual buyers. But when you're buying from a real estate company, all this comes complementary with the land that you buy. So there's no need for any, oh, you need to pay this again, you need to buy this again, you need to, no. But then I'm going to answer this question for the individuals. Additional costs include the survey plan, the deed of assignment, deed of conveyance, legal fee, documentation fee, allocation fee, development levy, beacon fee, government consent processing, registration fees, stamp duties. But with Tango Properties, when you purchase your land, there are no hidden charges, there are no hidden fees, there's no documentation fee, there's no fee for your survey. No, it's complimentary, it comes together with the land that you have purchased. So if you're buying from an individual or a private land seller, always ask for the complete breakdown before you make payments, so that there are no surprises later. This question is not actually for you, because this is where you involve your lawyer, your legal practitioner. They are the ones that will do this for you. So don't just download random templates online. No, you need your legal officer, you need your legal advisor, you need a lawyer to do this particular one for you. For the agreement should contain the names of the buyer and the seller, the description of the and location of the land, the purchase price, purchase terms, documents to be transferred, the date of possession, responsibilities of both parties, what happens if either party defaults, and the signature of both parties and witnesses. So a good agreement protects everyone that is involved when you're buying that land. Each option has its advantage and disadvantage. Buying from individuals can be cheaper but requires very, very, very careful verification. Buying from families can also be cheaper, but ownership disputes can arise, and then you lose your money. So ownership dispute is very, very common in family land if every member of the family has not given their consent to sell that particular piece of property. Then for estate developers actually provide verified layouts, infrastructure, payment plans, and documentation, making the process easier and safer. So I would advise you to go with a trusted real estate company, just to be safe, just to be safe. And also, before you make any payment, verify, like I always talk about. Due diligence is very, very necessary. Let's say you are new to buying land and documentation. So these are things that you should see in the deed of assignment. So you'd see in a valid deed of assignment, you should see the names of the buyer and the seller, the description of the property, the survey details, the purchase amount, date of transfer, the rights being transferred, signatures of both parties, witness signatures, proper execution by a lawyer where applicable. This document is one of the most important proofs that ownership has been legally transferred from one person to the other. Absolutely. Negotiation is normal in real estate. If you're buying from individuals, it would be, you can negotiate. But if you're buying from a real estate company, because their prices are mostly fixed, unless when there's a discount given on that product, that property from the company. Private sellers, uh, you may successfully negotiate with them based on a 5% discount or 15% discount. Depends on the buyer, depends on the seller, and depends on the market condition and how motivated the seller is to sell off that property. Then for estate developers as real estate companies, their prices are often fixed, but you may negotiate for discounts, flexible payment plans. Yes, you could actually negotiate for that. So instead of asking for an unrealistic discount, just negotiate for added value. After payment, you should receive your official payment receipt, allocation letter, survey plan, contract document, the deed of assignment, and other agreed documents. So it's very, very important. If you're buying in an estate, the company will allocate your exact plot for you. If you're buying from a real estate company. So once the allocation is completed and the documents are signed, you're officially in possession. You can build your fence, you can develop whatever structure you want to do. But then if you bought from a real estate company, there are some estates that they would have a particular structure to erupt on the in the estate. You can build your fence, do develop whatever you want to develop according to the estate development policy. Some estates actually have a development policy. So the best protection is buying land with verified titles and proper documentation. Also, buy from a trusted real estate company. Buy from a reputable real estate company or verified sellers. Then conduct proper land search. Conduct proper land search. Obtain all the legal documents. Fence your land early. Just even if it's not all that, but fence your land just to make sure that there is no encumbrance from anybody, whoever the person is. So in Rivers State, Omo Onile is not actually as common as in Lagos State and Ogun State. So, however, local communities can arise and just say, "Oh, this is this and that and that and that." But with these tips I've given to you so far, you can avoid that. As long as you're buying from a trusted real estate company like Tengo Properties Limited, you're not going to have that issue. Buying land should not be a gamble. The more informed you are, the safer your investment will be. If this episode answered your questions, do well to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And if you have any real estate question, topic that you would like us to discuss, you can drop it down in the comment section and we'll definitely visit your question on the next episode. This is Real Estate IQ, where we answer frequently asked questions people are either too scared or too confused to ask.